Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm Trevor with Maker Experiment, and in today's video, we're going to be unboxing a brand new machine. Let's get into it. Before we get started, I do want to mention that this video is sponsored by Epilog laser. I've been working with them for quite a few years. You've seen the Fusion Edge, the Fusion Maker, and recently the Fusion Pro that I've been using for different videos and whatever I want to make. So this is a loaner machine that they are having me use to do content, and we will see what kind of content comes out of that. But I want to show you the unboxing of this new machine, show you what comes with it, what's entailed, and give you an idea of, if you were to get one, what that's going to be like. With that in mind, let me show you the unboxing process. Spoiler alert, it's the Galvo G100. Let's go. First up, this is the box. It comes on a pallet. It's not too big, maybe like 3 feet or so by 3 feet or so, roughly. But I'm going to open up the top and show you what's inside. So one thing you'll notice here is the machine is lying on its back. That's what's against the pallet. In the box, there is a bag that has instructions. It has some supplies. We'll go through all that here in a minute. It also has the cable pack like we had with the Fusion Pro. So there's a few different cables in here. And then I think the rest of this here we go. This is the other lens. So this one does come with 2 lenses. Box that up. There's a dust port that's in the back corner here. Put that off to the side. There is a read first that's taped to the front of the machine. But other than that, that looks like everything that's in the box. The machine's here too. I'm gonna have to take this out later when they are here. But let's go ahead and deep dive. So first off, to touch on the lens again, there's actually 2 lenses that come with this machine. There's an f163 and an f254. This one is the 254. So the whole difference is being able to engrave on a 4x4 space versus a 6x6 space. And there are 2 different cameras in the machine to accommodate each lens. In the bag, all right. In the bag we have the cleaning solution. We have instructions on what to do for the machine. This is all setup related, by the way. So taking out travel things, making sure you hook up the dust port, all that kind of stuff. USB cable, Ethernet cable, tiny little toolkit. It's interesting that I actually got 2 toolkits. So I don't know if one's for like lens change out and one's for other stuff. I don't know. But we will find that out. We got little pins here. So these are actually for the bed. The bed has threaded holes. You can put these in to help position stuff so that it doesn't move around. There's actually 2 bags of those. So there's about 10 of them. Keys to the machine, some metal cards to engrave on, a bigger metal piece. This is anodized aluminum, it looks like. Looks like we have a calibration for the camera. So this is pretty nice. I like the fact that you don't have to engrave that camera pattern like you had to in the past on like the Fusion Edge when I got that one. This is really nice to me because you don't have to waste time engraving all this. It's already there, it's good to go. It will save a bunch of time. Firmware drive, I usually get the latest one off the website though. I don't typically use the one that comes in here. And then the manual. So that takes care of the bag. So while we move this out of the way and put it all back in the bag, because I actually need this space for the machine. There we go. All right, plugs. We went over this in the last video with the previous video I did with the Fusion Pro. So this one comes with a non-plug wire, meaning that you can add your own plug to the end. It's just a 3-wire setup with the machine plug on the back. This one is the normal 110 outlet for the United States. This is the one that will be used, at least for me. We got another one. I know this one is not the United States. I think this one is the Australia one maybe. And then we have this one, which I think is Europe. So 3 of these don't get used. The reason they give you this pack is simplicity. So they have the same pack of cables they throw in a lot of the machines. It just makes it easier, make sure that they don't forget one. So you get some extra cables along the way. I've unboxed everything that's in the box minus the machine. So I have to wait for them to get here because I need 2 people to lift the machine. I cannot lift it by myself. I highly recommend you don't lift it by yourself. So in the meantime, I'm going to grab some coffee because it's early in the morning and we'll be back. But yeah, cool things are coming. So here's the machine. It's quite a bit smaller than the crate looks like. But first off, we're going to remove the reed first. We're going to remove this and stick it to the side like so. And then we're gonna peel off the little cover on the touchscreen. So we're gonna get a little bit of ASMR because I love the sound of that. So let's do that next. Next up, we're gonna go through the README first. So take this out of here. All right. So the first thing we want to do is open the front door. So let's do that. All you're gonna do, there's 2 handholds at the corners, if you can see that. You're gonna start lifting it up. Now the cool thing is this is auto open and auto close. So if I were to let it go, it's going to gently lower back down. So if I open it up, eventually when you get to the top, it will hold because on the side of the machine there's a magnet on each side that as I bring it up, you're gonna see it catch and hold it in place. But those magnets are how the door stays up in manual mode when it's not being operated. Once you open it, you'll see that there are shipping brackets on the left and right. These are connected. What you need to do is loosen the thumb screws here on both sides. And then there are thumb screws in the actual bed that you need to loosen, so you'll loosen those. And then these will slide right out. These are only for shipping purposes. So just set those to the side in case you ever need to ship the machine back for some reason. In the back right corner of the machine, there's also one that's covering the plug. Now this one was bent a little bit, but it did its job. It was supposed to protect this. So my guess is it just got bumped in the shipping process. But if there's a screw underneath, loosen that and it will come right off. Now that that's uncovered, just take your power cord. Mine's already plugged into the wall. Plug that into that spot. And we can boot up the machine right here. And we can add power to the machine by switching this button. Now, it won't boot up the actual machine because it has a key interlock. So we're gonna walk through this here in a second. But go ahead and plug it in. You can turn it on here, and then we'll go through this process. In the nifty bag of tricks, you should have a set of keys that we walk through. So go ahead and open those. They are taped pretty well. Ta-da! Go ahead and plug those in back here. And this is really how you add power to the machine. There's the off when it's in this position and on when it's in this position. So as soon as you turn the key and release this emergency stop because it was pressed in shipping, your machine will boot up. And we'll give it a couple seconds to boot through the process. I am going to take off these pieces of blue tape. These are actually holding the manual focus gauges. So while the machine's booting up, you'll see that there's one that's for the larger lens, or I would say the 6x6 inch area lens, and one for the 4x4 lens. These just get housed on the side here, kind of tucked out of the way, and they are magnetized, so they just stick and you're good to go. But these aren't necessary if you don't want to use them. There is going to be an autofocus feature, but they are here if you need them. All right, when you first boot it up, you're going to have to select some things through the menu. So for me, it's going to be English. For this one, I'm gonna name it Sparky for now, just because it's a fiber. All right, next up, please confirm you have a filtration unit attached. I don't yet. I'm going to show you that here in a minute, but I am going to bypass this to get through the menu. So the first thing that you're going to be doing is running an engraving. So it says place the 3.5 inch by 2 inch piece of anodized aluminum from your training kit into the center of the engraving field and use the camera or trace button to properly align your artwork. On the next screen, you'll get to select the demo file. So let me find, these are what it's talking about. So we're going to unpackage this. And we're going to use one of these black anodized cards. So here I'm just going to hit next on the screen. There is a demo file. I will show you how to place it. But first, let's open up the machine. So here, down in the bottom corner, there's a button, the second one from the left. You can hit that and it will open the door. So we're going to take this piece. Just make sure there's no paper on it because one side of it has paper or plastic covering. Go ahead and peel that off like so. Place it in the middle of the bed. I'm going to turn on the red dot pointer, which is the fourth button from the left, and just get a sense of where the center is. Okay. So let me show you a couple buttons over here on the touchscreen before we engrave the job so you know what I'm doing. This area is pretty much the same on all Epilog machines. You have the actual touchscreen, you have the play pause button, and you have the joystick. So all of the layout is the exact same. Now on the actual screen, this is a little bit different for the bottom, but the top's the same. So this 3 bars, that's going to be all of your jobs. There's a trash can button in case you want to delete a job. There's a settings button, so if you click that, you can see all of the different settings. Now if you hold the top one for a couple seconds, you'll get an advanced menu of options. This is the same on all Epilog machines if you did not know this. So there are some extra things in here for focus, calibration, that kind of stuff. If you want to get back a screen, you just hit the settings button again to go back. At the bottom is all of your machine information with your version of firmware, the type of laser it is, serial number, and IP address for the network stuff. So this is not connected to my computer yet. This is all just what's built into the machine. If you want to get back to the home screen, you can hit those 3 lines at the top. From left to right here at the bottom, you have the reset button. There's the up and down for the door. There's up and down for the actual lens assembly. So this is your vertical Z axis distance. There's a red dot pointer button to turn off and on the red dot pointer. There's a joystick to move things around if you need to. So you'll just see it moves where the red dot pointer is. Now, let me show you the actual red dot pointer so you know what I'm doing. So you can see the red dot pointer. If I'm doing that joystick move, you can see it move to the right, move to the left, diagonally. That is what that button is doing. And if you hit reset, it will bring it back to the 0 point. And then this button here, if I go back to the menu, this button here will show a trace of the job. Now this will stay on for this job and it'll show you where it's going to land. This might be hard to see on camera, but there is a red box outlining exactly where this is going to land to make sure that you don't engrave it into the bed. Because you can engrave the bed directly if you are not careful. But right now it's tracing, it's on the material. So what we're going to do is start it and see what happens. All right. And there we go. There's the first demo engraving. Looks pretty cool to me. A lot quicker than if you did this on a CO2. Next, we need to pick out how we want to connect to our machine. I'm going to use Wi-Fi because it's my favorite way. Choose my network. So if you do have a closed network, make sure that you put in your key. So you'll just click that WPA2 personal, and then you'll put in your security key, which I'm not going to show you. So stop recording now. Continue. Continue again to automatically find the IP address. It will try to connect to your computer and set up the connection. And we're connected. So then we just hit the next button. I've already got this software installed because I have another Epilog machine, so I'm going to hit next to that. And then we're going to go into the job manager and actually add the machine to the job manager. So you're going to have to remember that IP address. Let me go and show you what this means on the computer. I'm in the job manager for Epilog. So in here, you'll already see that I have a few machines listed. In order to add the new one, I need to go to the plus sign for add a laser system. You'll see that if it's on the network already, it automatically detects it. So you can see it has Sparky here. So we're going to click that. You'll also see that it has the name. Go hit finish in the bottom right hand corner. And then verify that the IP address that it lists is matching what the machine said. So I'm reading mine and it looks like it matches. So with that, I can actually go in here now. I can see that the camera matched, it detected it, so we can see that. So if I were to send a job over, I would be able to see it in the actual dashboard and everything. But this is exactly what you need to happen. Nothing special. It automatically detected everything. It detects the actual camera size too, or the lens size too, so you can see it says 4x4 right now. Let's go back over to the machine and I'll show you a couple other things. Once you've installed your laser, you can hit next here. This just walks through how you save a job to the machine. So if you don't know how to do that, make sure you read this. And then you get the congratulations. that you can always come back through this with the settings menu. And if you click next, you are ready to run the Galvo. On the back side of the machine, you'll see that there is an exhaust port here. There's little feet at the bottom and the top when this was laying on its back. You'll also find your serial card information for the machine. You'll have fans exhausting the heat out of the electronics. The thing I want to focus on now is actually putting the exhaust port on. So that exhaust port came disconnected. In your toolkit, there's a wrench like this one. Okay. This is not a normal Allen key wrench. This is the T-Star one, for those of you that don't know them. So this one's the T30 for the record. What you'll do is you'll loosen these up and take them off. Just set them down right in front of you. All right. You can choose to have this up or down. I typically put it down, but what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to pre-connect it to my exhaust port. And let me grab a screwdriver. All right. Tighten that on because I want to see which way it fits best. So if it fits that way, yep, it sure does. So I'm just gonna take the screws, put them back in. Again, whether you do this up or down is completely up to you. Okay, I don't tighten them right away. I get all 4 screws back in. Just make sure you don't cross thread them or anything like that. And once they're all in, then you can go around and tighten them all up. All right. And then your exhaust is connected. Over on the right-hand side of the machine, just underneath the touch screen, you have the exhaust control if you have an exhaust. If the exhaust has the ability to be controlled by another machine, you can plug that in here, and when the machine runs the job, the exhaust will kick on. You have the USB drive port where you can do firmware updates and things like that. The network connectivity if you want to connect via Ethernet. The USB connectivity if you want to connect via USB. And then you have all of your status lights here to tell you whether or not the machine's working properly. And then in the back of that side, we already talked about it, but here's your on-off switch, your outlet connection, and then on the top of the machine, you have that emergency stop button. As far as the rest of the right side of the machinery goes, I've already mentioned the manual focus gauges, but if you pull one, so this is the one for the 4-inch distance, there's a spot on the front of the machine right here where you put that, and then that is your focal distance for the machine. There are whole processes for calibrating your Z height and focus distance and all that, so we're not going to go through that in this video, but this is where that focus gauge will go in case you want to do it manually. All right, in the machine, there are 2 exhaust ports, so you can move these around to catch as much debris as possible. There's also a thing in the back that you can slide open or shut. If it's shut, more air is going to come through these, so there's going to be more suction from these spots. If it's open, most of the suction is going to go through the back. You also have threaded holes. If you remember these little threaded pieces from the bag, you can take one out, thread it into the bed as a stop point, and you can set up all kinds of fixtures with those. But there are holes going all the way to the back. At the front here are the interlocks to make sure that it's safe for the machine to actually fire. When the lid is down, these will allow the machine to actually engrave. If they are not connected to the pieces that are in the lid, then the machine won't fire at all. And then over here on the left-hand side, you'll see a port. This is for the rotary. I do not have one of those right now, but that's where the rotary will plug in. If I zoom out here, you'll see where that is in relation to everything else. If I point up to the underside of that whole black mount here, this is where the lens is. You'll have the two different cameras depending on which lens you're using. You'll also have some status lights back here in the corner. But if you were to unscrew this lens, now I recommend you have the machine off when you do that. But if you unscrew this lens and you screw the new one in, it should automatically detect everything because there are sensors in here to help figure out which lens is installed. That's the overview of the G100. I am going to be using this machine a lot in the future for engraving different kinds of metal items because I think that's going to be really where this one's going to shine. I will show some examples of engraving on acrylic with it in the future as well. But if you have ideas for projects or things you want to see, put those in the comments below. I'd love to know what you want to find out about it. If you have any questions about it, put those in the comments below as well. Huge shout out to Epilog for sending me this machine to use for my content. I think this is going to be a lot of fun and I'm looking forward to it. So be sure to check out their stuff at epiloglaser.com. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so that you know when I come out with new videos. But I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next one.